Thank you very much, sirs. Without further ado, Superintendent Weekes.
Good morning, everybody. This briefing is going to be in two parts. First of all, we're going to talk about the coming weekend, which we'll consider a holiday weekend for policing purposes, because people will be having a lot of parties and a lot of stuff will be going on. And then I'll be talking after that about the actual May 24th holiday on Tuesday and the road closures, etc. that will be going on. The first thing I would like to take the opportunity to advise the public that we're looking to have a peaceful and safe weekend this weekend. The Bermuda Police Service will be conducting high visibility patrols throughout the weekend in the aim of making Bermuda safer. In line with our strategic intent to reduce guns, gangs, drugs and violence, we'll be intent on deterring these members of the public that might seek to disrupt the holiday weekend with acts of violence and criminality. We'll be having a zero tolerance to any antisocial behaviour that the police witness. You can consider, if you're going to do antisocial behaviour this weekend, we're going to arrest you and we're going to try and put you before the courts. Patrol units assisted by their colleagues from the Bermuda Reserve Police will be paying particular attention to incidents of public disorder, weapons possession and public drug misuse. Certainly those persons who are not deterred by our presence and commit these offences, as I say, can be expected to be arrested and placed before the courts. There'll also be a lot of officers out looking at road traffic issues this weekend. We expect with a holiday weekend that there will be a large volume of traffic on the roads, and we're asking the public to exercise care, caution and courtesy on our roads this weekend. Not just about collisions, but just general driving behaviour that traditionally occurs when people have had a few drinks. And on that note, we'd encourage members of the public not to drink and drive. I know that's an old message that comes out all the time, but what we're looking to try and get people to do is to use the designated drivers and try not drinking with a bit of alcohol, try driving with no alcohol in your system. And this is not only to try and bring down the level of collisions that we traditionally get on a long weekend such as this, but also just for consideration of the motoring public and your friends and family. Let's try and keep the roads safe this weekend. We don't want to spoil it for everybody by having fatalities or serious injury accidents. We don't want people to spend time in the hospital, and so by having the courtesy and consideration for other road users, not drinking and driving, we have to achieve that. And you're not going to end up in our cells as well. Loud music is another problem that traditionally comes with this particular holiday, and we're going to ask that whilst we accept that everyone's trying to celebrate the Bermuda Day holiday and there are a lot of parties out there, that again consideration is shown not only by the people who are playing the music but by the neighbours around the area. We would like to think that people can troubleshoot for themselves these things rather than the constant calling of the police that occurs on these holiday weekends about loud music. So we would ask two things of the public: that the public in general have patience and tolerance on behalf of on part of making the complaints, along with a display of respect and courtesy to your friends and neighbours by the people who are holding the parties. Marine issues. This time of year is traditionally the start of the boating season in Bermuda, and we expect, weather permitting, that our waterways will be very busy. We expect to have a full complement of Marine Section officers out on the water, particularly on May 24th, supplemented by the Bermuda Reserve Police and the Bermuda Regiment, who will also be assisting us with their boat troop. Will be out on May 24th, looking to try and keep it, again, a safe, incident-free holiday for the public. We'd like to remind everyone to ensure their vessels are registered, that they've got a current 2011 decal in the proper place on the front of their vessel, and that they ensure that all the proper safety equipment is on their vessel in order that should one of our officers or one of the other boats be stopped by the police, that they will not end up with tickets, etc. We're trying to make this a trouble-free holiday, so if people make the effort to do their part in getting their vehicles registered and making sure the proper safety equipment is on board, then it's going to go better for everybody. If they're going to go offshore, we would also encourage everyone to follow the flow plan. Speed on the water, like speed on the land, has caused problems over the years, and not only in causing collisions, but also a general nuisance factor that's experienced by people who have their boats anchored near the shoreline. The boating public is reminded of the need to exercise care and caution around other vessels and be on the lookout for swimmers on this traditional holiday. Again, mixing alcohol and speed on the water or when sailing is, goes along the same lines as mixing alcohol and driving. We're encouraging people to reduce their intake of alcohol in order to have a safer holiday. Now moving on to Tuesday the 24th, races and the parade. The public is reminded that there will be a number of road closures between Somerset and the City of Hamilton. You can expect a large number of roads to be closed for short periods, and we will endeavour to reduce disruption to the motoring public as much as possible. We want to keep it to a minimum, so we will be opening and closing roads. There is one area of particular note that I'd like to stress to the public. The area between Barnes Corner and Somerset is where we have the biggest safety issues. This year we have a record number of cyclists taking part in the cycle race, and when they all leave Somerset, they will be leaving as a large group. I believe it's about 80 riders this year, and they will be travelling at a very fast speed. It only takes one car to pull out of a driveway without looking or without ignoring the direction of a marshal or a police officer, and we could have very, very serious consequences to those cycle riders. So between 8:30 and about 9:15, that area between Barnes Corner and Somerset will be strictly controlled by police motorcyclists, but it will be a very critical period for driving on that road, and we urge all road users to try and avoid being on the road in that area during that time, and to pay attention to the directions of the marshals and the police officers who will be on the various junctions in that area. The routes for the races will be similar to previous years. However, the route for the parade, as many will know, has been changed this year. We'll be starting at Bernard's Park and finishing at City Hall. Those details, of course, will be distributed by other government departments. But just be aware that things have changed this year, and so the road closures will necessarily change, and where you can park and where you can get to various times of the day will have changed from last year. So please base your plans to move around the City of Hamilton during the parade on this year's route. As I said, we'll go from Bernard's Park to City Hall. Finally, I'd like to make an appeal from the Bermuda Police. We can term this an amnesty, if you like, but we're looking for the return of some of our parking cones. When we moved into the new police station, which we've just done, obviously the official opening hasn't taken place, but we're now in the new police station in Hamilton, we did an inventory of the big yellow no waiting cones that we have, no parking cones. And we realised that, as well as those that have become unserviceable because of the sun and the weather, we now have quite a number that are out there missing. We believe a lot of them are stuck behind hedges or in people's gardens where they've been left after the previous parades. However, we're also aware that there are a number that are in people's trucks, in people's sheds, and being used for, to ensure parking in their particular area of the street or where their business is. And what we'll ask is that this time, because we need so many cones to effectively cone off the city for the May 24th parade, that if you've got cones, please return them to us, or give us a call and we can come collect them. Or if when you're out on your walk on the railway trail or on the road, you see a bunch of cones stuck behind a hedge or in a garden, please let us know so we can come and get them, and we can effectively cone off the city and make sure that this parade goes properly. It is an amnesty. No one's going to get locked up because you have our cones. We just really need them back. So please let us have all the cones back if you can find them. And finally, to wrap up, we'd encourage everyone to exercise patience, tolerance, caution, and a bit of good old-fashioned common sense to help the Bermuda Police Service do our job and keep Bermuda safer this weekend and on the holiday Tuesday. We appeal to the public, in particular those persons in the community who are involved in violent crime or have friends and family that they know are involved in these crimes, to think about the Bermuda Day holiday and what it means to our community, and to not spoil these events for the whole community, as has happened on some occasions recently. On behalf of the Commissioner of Police, I wish to wish the entire Bermuda community a safe and enjoyable Bermuda Day holiday.
Please, don't get across.
Okay, I have a question. There was I'm sure you haven't read it, but there was a letter to the editor of the Gazette today, which sort of recommended that in order to back up your zero tolerance, that the police attend these conferences, these parades armed. Has that been a consideration?
I'd like to first address the zero tolerance thing. As I said in my speech, we will have a zero tolerance for antisocial behaviour during this weekend. I'm not saying that we are adopting a zero tolerance approach. We haven't adopted that as a strategy, but we will have zero tolerance for any antisocial behaviour we see. On the question about armed vehicles, we will have armed police officers on, as we do every day of the week, and we have, traditionally we put more on when the risk assessment shows that we need more armed officers. But there will be armed officers on patrol in Bermuda over the weekend and over the Bermuda Day holiday in various areas. And as I said, we put the armed officers where our intelligence and our risk assessment indicates that they are most needed at any given time.
Any other questions?
Yeah, you mentioned the regiment and reserve police working with you on the 24th of May. Will they be working with you on the weekend as well?
Yes, there will be reserve officers out on this weekend. I cannot say right now whether there will be regiment officers on patrol this weekend, because we are only doing the patrol with the boats with the regiment officers at the moment. But I have got a commitment for them to have the boat trip out on May 24th. The regiment have also volunteered to be marshals along the way of the parade, so you will see regiment officers out on Tuesday helping with the parade. The Bermuda Reserve Police will be out this weekend assisting our regular patrols, and will also be out in force on May 24th to assist with both the race and the parade.
Are you aware of any clarity regarding the causeway and the situation that occurred yesterday, with the roads were being paved down? It's already done?
I believe that Works and Engineering have completed the resurfacing work today, and therefore we shouldn't experience any more of those problems over the next few days.
Thank you.
I just have a quick one. I might have missed this before I came in, but are there any particular hotspots that police officers will be focusing on, or will there just be a large police presence across the island?
There'll be a large presence generally across the island. Again, it depends on where the people are. We understand there are some big parties going on. I believe there's at least one down in St. David's, and there's probably some up in the West End as well. So we will be focusing on where the people are, and obviously we'll be working with our intelligence unit to tell us where the likely trouble spots are going to be, and that's where we'll be working. But you're likely to see more policemen than normal out over the weekend in every part of the island.
Can you confirm whether or not there'll be stop-and checks on Saturday night heading into St. David's with the big Bernie show?
We operate the road checks under Section 315F of the Criminal Code,
Okay.
and it's basically the legislation allows us to do that wherever we believe that there is likely to be the problem. So if at the time we believe that's where the problem is, we can put up a roadblock and take it down and take it to the next place wherever we feel it's required. So there may be one there depending on what information comes in.
Superintendent Weekes, this is the first boating day of the year. Last summer we saw more and more escalations of violence being taken onto the water. What are Marine Police being deployed as?
Marine Police will be deployed, again, based on the information and intelligence that's coming in. They'll be out in force on May 24th itself, because as we mentioned earlier in the conference, that is the traditional start of the boating season. We are aware that some people are now using the water to move around the island, and we'll be basing our patrols on the information received.
Do we have a weaponized Marine squad?
A weaponized Marine squad? Do you mean, have we got a machine gun on the front of one of our boats? No, I can confirm that we do not. Some of our armed officers are trained in marine unit skills, but there's nobody fully, our marine section are not carrying weapons, if that's what you're asking. But we have a marine ability for the guys that carry the weapons.